Let's have a look at how they line up. And keep in mind that these are the results of the first race. Larry Perkins in for a great win ahead of John Bowe. They'll share the first row of the grid. Peter Brock and Tony Longhurst in an outstanding effort to get up there into fourth. They'll share the second row.
Talk about outstanding efforts. Alan McCarthy, the local driver, fantastic run in that first heat to get himself up to fifth position. Alan Jones alongside the Komatsu Ford. Row 4, Greg Murphy and Glenn Seaton.
Back to row 5, Mark Larkham, a top 10 finish there. Well done to Larko. Russell Ingall in for 10th. Darren Hossack is probably one of the best of his results this year in 11th, and Danny Osborne 12th.
Row 7, Terry Finnegan and Mark Paul. Row 8, Melinda Price in the Castrol Cougars car, and Dick Johnson is not starting today.
We're getting ourselves ready for race 2. There's John Bowe. He is ready to go. Larry Perkins on the right-hand side of him. Green, and we are away for race 2. It's perfectly dry conditions. Have a look at the biff and barge back in there. Jones was involved in that, and Seaton has lost his front spoiler completely.
Well, he's running out of spoilers. That was his third one. I don't think he's got any more in the truck. That's unbelievably bad luck for Seaton. He's gone off on the grass, got agricultural. He's broken off the spoiler once again. He's in big trouble.
Well, there was plenty of biff and barge at the start of that. Hossack's been the big winner out of that. He's moved up in front of Seaton. So Glenn has a lot of work to do now, but it's John Bowe who leads the way from Perkins, Brock. Then we go back to Longhurst. Alan McCarthy, the local privateer, is up there in the top 5 yet again.
Keep in mind those under trays on those spoilers generate a lot of downforce in the front of these cars. Once you lose them, it's very, very hard to steer. And Seaton is going to have to struggle. Look at Alan McCarthy on the outside of Russell Ingall. Had a great run in that first heat, made a good selection on tyres, went for slicks. The track dried out and he moved his way right up the order. Now he's getting swamped by the cream of Australia's touring car talent as they come down toward the pit straight for the first time.
Murphy caught in the middle there. He's trying to find a way through. There's Melinda Price. So her race has ended on the very first lap. She has ended up in the sand. Have a look at Murphy weaving his way around, trying to get through on Ingall.
Yeah, Peter Brock, great move up the inside of Larry Perkins. Great start, John Bowe. They both jumped the same. Here we go. This lunacy in the background there with Jones. He's got hit. Ended up pushing Glenn off the side of the road. He's knocked the front spoiler off, and obviously he's in a bit of trouble now. John Bowe, great start, and into the first corner in front of Larry Perkins.
Well, this is really going to spice the championship up now, because after that first race, Glenn Seaton had a 10-point lead over John Bowe. Bowe moved up into second, only 2 points ahead of Russell Ingall. Now with Seaton with those problems and Bowe in front, this has really played into the hands of JB.
It really is. He's a fighter. He always talks very conservatively about his championship position, but once he gets in that car, he fights like fury. We're looking at the back of the Shell 18 Ford, that big field as they try to track him down. He crosses the start-finish line once again. Look at them sorting themselves out in the background. Castrol Commodore under fire from the Mobile Commodore. So Peter Brock now right up behind John Bowe to the order. Bowe, Brock, Perkins, Longhurst, Ingall, Murphy, Larkham up in 7th, Alan Jones back in 8th.
Brock hanging in there with John Bowe. This is a good run. He did quite well in the opening race as well, Mark Scaife.
His drive in the wet in the first race was fantastic. He was clearly the best of the Bridgestone runners. And in this race now, he was 3/4 of a second faster. On board with Peter Brock now, 3/4 of a second faster than John Bowe in that last lap. And he really, the Bridgestone runners early in the race are very strong. Murphy just got Ingall.
Well, Russell Ingall coming through from his 10th finishing position. That's where he started for Heat 2. Now he's up to 5th position. So he's really in amongst this, up behind Tony Longhurst as we're on board with the Mobile Commodore. Peter Brock closes right up behind John Bowe as they swing through Yokohama corner and back onto the BP start-finish straight once again.
Well, we've just got word through from race control. There is a stop-go penalty has been given to car 25. That is the Castrol Falcon of Tony Longhurst. Now, Longhurst is up there running in 5th position at the moment, but he won't be once he has to come in for this stop-go.
Yeah. Usually what happens with the stop-go is you've got to do it on the lap that the officials say. So Tony Longhurst at the moment's in front of Russell Ingall and is holding him up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what happens now. Tony really has got to come in this lap.
Now, I'm wondering if that's got anything to do with that starting incident, because Longhurst, that was around about where Longhurst was off the start mark, Scaife, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure really, Lee. It was all ended up, I mean, there were so many cars bumping each other, and as I said, there was a bit of lunacy going on, so it's hard to tell where it started from.
Watch the lap time start to tumble too, though, running around in the 64, 65 second bracket in those wet conditions in Heat 1. Now they're in truly dry conditions on slick tyres. They've come under a minute, 59.04 for Bowe. Keep in mind the lap record held by Craig Lowndes from last year, a 57.9, so they're still a fair way away from lap record pace, but the track has been slower here all weekend.
This is the view from the front of Peter Brock's Mobile HRT Commodore. The windscreen's O'Brien. Look, now we go on board with John Bowe. Have a look at the concentration. Here's the windscreen's O'Brien profile for John Bowe, his career. And we'll take a look at this year's progress. First in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship in '95. A couple of Bathurst wins, Gold Star, Eastern Creek 12-hour win as well. This is this year. Have a look at that for consistency. Third at Phillip Island, couple of seconds, and his win, his first win of the year and his first win at Lakeside last round.
Well, all the teams here are complaining about not having the ideal handling, but it's the same for everybody. And Bowe certainly squeezing plenty of speed out of the Shell 18 Ford. His teammate Dick Johnson apparently had some sort of engine drama before the start of this heat. He's had to pull out. So John Bowe flying the flag for the Shell Fords. Look at Brock on the attack, matching Bowe by just a few hundredths of a second in lap times. Larry Perkins coming under fire for Murphy. So the Holden Racing team in both wet and dry conditions looking strong.
Greg Murphy was very disappointed with that 8th in race 1. He wasn't happy at all. Have a look at Jones and Larkin having a good battle up back there behind Tony Longhurst, because Longhurst's got to come in for that stop-go. So that you can get rid of that position. So that moves Jones and Larkin up one better.
This shot out of the back of John Bowe's car is a great shot to look at Brock. He's driving the car very, very well. Obviously, he's making all the apexes. The car has got very good grip. And the best thing about these two guys, obviously, they race very hard, but they race very fair. The two blokes are very close, and there's obviously been no contact.
The interesting thing to watch too will be the performance of John Bowe's car. For the first time they're running this new Dunlop tyre. They haven't really had a chance to do much durability testing on it, so it'll be interesting to see how it hangs in over these 20 laps. Further
back in the pack, Glenn Seaton has managed to get past Darren Hossack in the Wins Commodore, so he is now up inside the top 10 as we have a look at JB and Peter Brock. Bowe is under siege. Brock having a look up the inside. Look further back to Murphy. He is hassling Perkins then. Probably a couple of hundred metres back is Russell Ingall. Now, we've been fortunate enough to be joined in commentary by Dick Johnson. Dick, probably not the best weekend for you, and unfortunately on your 150th consecutive start.
The way I'm going, I don't know whether I'll get to 151.
Tell us about the elbow. How is the elbow?
Oh, it's a bit stiff, but you can still drive these things with one hand, but slowly.
DJ, with Bowie there, obviously you're feeling better anyway. That car was out in front and going all right.
Too right, mate, but I can assure you that even Brocky behind him is certainly going to have a bit of trouble because, you know, Bowie is harder to pass than a kidney stone.
Dick, if you could, for the viewers who have just joined us, can you explain what happened? I mean, the elbow is obviously the reason why you can't drive for the rest of the afternoon. What actually happened back in the paddock?
Well, I was just standing near the fence and JB was coming in to do a hot pyro on the tyres, and I sort of obviously just got clipped by him, and I got hooked by the jacking point on the side, and so I hurriedly just raced up to the truck and had a look in the mirror, and there's no way knowing that I looked anything like Russell Ingall.
Was that a payback for Surface, DJ, was it? With that whole thing with the little teammate deal?
Now, listen, in that first race, even though obviously you were in a great deal of pain with your elbow, you were still running very good. At one stage, you're up into 10th.
Well, you know, fortunately it was raining, so the car wasn't that heavy on the steering because I was only using the right arm to steer the car, but changing gears was a bit of a problem, so a lot of the times I just left it on the rev limiter.
Talk us through what JB's going through here. He's going very well.
Well, he's going really well, and I think if he can hold out a bit, I feel that maybe over a race distance that the Bridgestones might go off a little bit more than the Dunlops, because they are a very durable and tough tyre, the ones that we have on this and they've chosen for this race.
This is a new compound, Dick, isn't it, for this weekend? And obviously at the start there, the Bridgestones come on earlier, and Brock really harassed Bowie. You can see Bowie inside with the Dunlop race cam now, working pretty hard, but he just got away a little bit from Brock the last couple of laps.
Well, he did, and that's maybe because Brock's coming under siege as well, which really sort of, you've got to really look at your back door all the time and hope that nobody gets past you. But JB's got a fair bit to worry about. He hasn't got anyone in front to worry about, but certainly he's got to keep behind him fairly well covered.
Speaking of Brock coming under siege, have a look at this. Battle for second and third. Peter Brock is looking at a rear view mirror full of Larry Perkins. He's been able to pull away a little bit from the HRT car there of Greg Murphy. We say thank you very much to Shell Helix driver Dick Johnson for giving us his time. Unfortunately, will not be racing for the rest of the day because of that injury sustained to his elbow. We go on board now. The windscreen's O'Brien, in-car camera of Peter Brock. And that's John Bowe sitting out in front of him.
Meanwhile, behind this battle, it's a tremendous quartet at the front. Ingle, Jones, Larkham back in 7th position. He's coming under a lot of fire from Stephen Richards. Longhurst back in 9th, and Glenn Seaton just hanging on in 10th position with the damaged spoiler. You can Larry Perkins gives the signal to Murphy and then moves over to cover his territory, playing a bit of cat and mouse there with the second Mobile Commodore driver.
I think Greg just give Larry a little bump there, and LP wasn't too enthused about it. What's happening, obviously, with Perkins and Murphy torturing each other there. Ingles catching them, and here's Tony Longhurst coming in now for the stop-go. I thought he would have had to do it earlier in the race. Ray Robbins from Cams will be there, and off he goes again. Obviously, some penalty incurred from the start, maybe a little bit of a jump start or something.
Here comes Greg Murphy. Have a look at this, right on Larry Perkins. Whether there was contact there, it was very, very close. Car 15, the Mobile HR team machine of Greg Murphy is all over the back, and Ingle is coming up as well. This is good, close racing as they come up and over the hill once again, heading down into Yokohama corner.
Look at the queue forming up behind John Bauer. Look at those lap times, 59-second bracket. There's 1, 2, 3, 7 cars all operating in the 59s, are separated by hundredths, tenths of a second. Incredible stuff.
Fastest guy on the circuit at the moment is Alan Jones, who's 6th. He's just done a 58.89, about 3 or 4 tenths faster than the next car, and obviously getting onto the back of this group here. Now, just behind Russell Ingle, you can see the blue Komatsu Ford just following on there.
John Bauer is leading the way at the moment, but have a look at the freight train behind him. It's Brock, Perkins. Have a look at Murphy up the inside. Then you've got Ingle and Jones battling it out as well.
Yeah, it's getting right up the inside of Larry as they came through Bridgestone Loop that time around. But Perkins just holding him out once again. Teammate Ingle coming under fire from Alan Jones. A terrific battle for the top 6 positions.
Alan Jones' car looks really good. I mean, the car's quite soft and it's looking after the tyres very well. And straight line speed-wise, he's suffering a little bit. Ingle just gets away in the straight line sections a fraction on him. He just needs to get close enough to have a dive under brakes.
After that stop-go penalty, Tony Longhurst is back in 14th position. Give some credit to young Darren Hossack. He's running just outside the top 10 in 11th, so he's going very well. So too is AJ. Alan Jones sitting in 6th position in the Komatsu Falcon at the moment, chasing Russell Ingle, and he's doing very well. Now Perkins has gone for the inside line, Murphy the outside. Who'll be the winner here? We saw that Bow couldn't get past Larry Perkins at all in that previous race, and Murphy hasn't done it either this time round.
Murphy tries to switch back, but Larry knows where he's going. He goes right down that conservative line down the inside, making Murphy always have to go the longest way around. There's no real estate there. 7 laps to go. So we'll see if Murphy can work on Larry Perkins, but we saw in Heat 1 a very, very tough customer to pass. Alan Jones working the back of teammate Russell Ingle's car. So it's a really great battle here. That'll be good for Alan Jones and the Stone brothers. Though Alan's had a bit of trouble keeping tyres under the car in dry conditions. They've been burning out pretty quickly, but the car looking now quite consistent over a period of laps.
Well, this is looking good for John Bow as well, as we got to move up the inside. Murphy's got Perkins. He has put it up the inside in Colt corner, and so too has Jones. Jones has got past Ingle. So, all happened in the one corner. Good work there by Murphy and Jones. They go up 1 position better. Murphy is up into 3rd now behind teammate Brock.
Well, the Fords are on the attack. Alan Jones now gets in front of Ingle. He's got Larry Perkins in his sight. Big freight train at the front. The Shell Ford 18 leading this battle. 2 Mobile Holland Racing Team Commodores. We've got 6 laps to go. Anything could happen.
What a great race. I mean, that dive up the inside of Murphy, when Murphy was half out of control into Kolb, up the inside of Larry, really good stuff. And obviously right behind, see Glenn Seaton there with the front spoiler. He's really suffering.
He's actually moved up to 9th position, so it's incredible he's hanging in there. Mark Poole behind him.
You got two guys with the aero problems. One's got no front spoiler and one's got no windows.
Mark Poole missing windscreens front and rear. But meanwhile, here's the battle for the front. Bow, Brock and Murphy. Look at Brocky right in behind John Bow. And we take a look out the back of Bow's Falcon as they accelerate hard. Shifting up, moving up to 240, 245 kilometres an hour as they crest the rise here. Under down toward the Yokohama corner, one of the toughest corners on brakes in Australia. Look at the cat and mouse here between the Mobile teammates. Brock right up behind the Shell Ford.
Greg Murphy's going exceptionally well back there in 3rd position. He's pegged off Perkins. Now he's trying to do the same to teammate Brock. As you heard Dick Johnson say earlier on, he felt the Bridgestones might just outlast Dunlop just a little bit. And now you see them, they're going very strongly now, Mark Scaife.
They certainly are. Jeff Grex from Holden Racing Team, he'll be sort of saying to the guys, wait, make sure now that you don't obviously get too involved in the drama between each other, because Brock really is going to attack Bow at the end. And really Murphy looks like he's the fastest guy on the circuit in that lead group.
Alan Jones going exceptionally well back in 5th also. He's got Larry right in his sights. Here he goes. Larry moves over. Now Jonesy wants another shot at him on the inside going down into Cole. And he's got him. Good work by AJ. So he moves one further forward again. He is on a real charge in the Komatsu Falcon.
Well, he's the fastest man on the track now. He just did a 59.60. That's quicker than anyone. All these leading 5 running in the 59s. Look at Brock on the outside. Has another look at Bow. But Bow's right in the middle of the track, perfectly placed for any sort of attack. So Brock drops back in. Murphy right behind him. Then we got the first of the Castrol holders. Now Jones on the attack, up the inside.
Perkins came back on Alan Jones then. Now Jones, he's got the inside run for this corner, so he's positioned a little bit better than Larry. Then we go back to Russell Ingall. Time running out, lap 17 of 20. There is not much longer to go. Can John Bow hang on?
What a great race. I said before about Larry's engine power, but Jonesy got him and Larry got him back. And I mean, at the front there, it is really good stuff, really pressing on hard.
Murphy's really applying the thumb screws to his teammate. He was side by side coming through Bridgestone Loop that time around. He's really getting aggressive here. Obviously plenty of speed aboard the 15 car, but the 05 and 15 car very evenly matched. And meanwhile, John Bow, this scrap happening behind him, putting in some nice, consistent, fast laps. Times now have dropped back to the 60-second bracket. 60.29, Bow leading this battle, but they're bunched up behind him. Very close competitive racing.
Well, if things remain as is, if John Bow can hang on to that lead for just a couple more laps, he will take over the lead in the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. If they stay as they are at the moment, Ingall will move into second, and then we go back to Seaton. We have got 3 laps left to go. Come on, John Bow. He is going exceptionally well. Hasn't won a round here at Wanneroo since 1992. He did that in a Sierra. Could this be his first win in here in a Falcon?
What a fantastic race. I mean, these guys at the front are really driving the cars very well. The brake pedal will be getting very low. The tyres will be pretty ordinary. And between the first 4 or 5 cars, there's absolutely nothing in it.
Interesting equation. Brocky's working pretty hard at that wheel too. Look at Murphy, has a look down the inside, but no amount of real estate's going to get him through there. But Brock experimenting with the Bridgestone engineers, new tyre regulations that are going to come into force soon. You have to run the same construction of tyre on all 4 corners of the car. He's giving that a try this weekend. It's making the steering very heavy. Let's look at the windscreens. O'Brien drove a profile. Alan Jones in the Komatsu Ford. Meanwhile, there's a big attack on the inside for Murphy. He set that one up. Very close to Bow under brakes too, but now they're side by side as they come out of Yokohama corner. Brock perfectly positioned on the inside of the corner, so Murphy's got to go the long way round again. A little bit of experience there showing from Peter Brock.
Jones is through as well. Alan Jones is squeezing through on the inside of Murphy. Have a look at this. Murphy won't give up though. Jones has got the inside run to the next one and he's got there. How about that for gutsy driving?
This is vintage Alan Jones. When this guy gets the red eyes on, man, he goes for it. Look how aggressive he is here, taking them one by one. Unbelievably aggressive advance from Alan Jones. Fantastic stuff in the Komatsu Ford.
The best thing about this is giving Bow a little break because obviously Brock and Murphy torturing each other there at the last little piece and Jonesy getting them. Bowie's got 2 or 3 car lengths now and with only 1 lap to go you couldn't put enough money on him.
Well, Alan Jones saw what Peter Brock was doing and he said, well, I'll tag in behind you there, thanks Peter, and he just forced his way through. We're coming down lap 19 of 20. They'll come around to get that last lap board and it'll be on for young and old. John Bow in the Shell Helix Falcon. Peter Brock, the Mobile HRT car. This is their final lap. Jones in the Komatsu Falcon.
Well, whatever problems those boys have been having the setup on this car in the last few races, it looks like they've cured it here. One of the toughest circuits on tyres in Australia, and Alan Jones' car is working a treat.
And one of the guys that we haven't seen too much, but at the end of this queue is Steve Richards. He has done a fantastic job. 59.5. He's half a second faster than anybody else. He's caught Larry Perkins and really the fastest of the group of, say, 7 or 8 litres.
He had some bad luck in the first race where he was on the outside of Russell Ingall and just ended up in the sand. But Stevie Richards in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore is sitting in 6th and going exceptionally well.
There's only 4 seconds covering this leading 7 cars. They are very, very close. Here's the man at the head of the steam train. John Bow on the Shell 18 Ford. He has resisted the pressure from the 2 Mobile Holt Racing Team cars all the way through. Now Brock comes up the inside. Bow takes the conservative line once again. And Alan Jones on the attack.
This is it. It's coming down to the finish. Final corner out of Yokohama. This is the run to the line. Have a look at this. Murphy's coming up into it as well. John Bow will hang on for the win and Murphy's got Jones. How about that for a finish? Unbelievable stuff. Murphy not giving up right to the end and he got AJ right on the line. How about that?
You like your racing tough. You won't get any tougher than that. Unbelievable stuff. Elbow to elbow, door to door. Maximum aggression. Alan Jones and Greg Murphy right to the line. Fantastic stuff. But great job by this guy. John Bowe, he's always very conservative in his championship predictions, but look at that now. He has taken the lead of the Shell Championship.
That just changes the face of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship for this year. John Bowe now leads the way from Russell Ingall, Glenn Seaton, and then Russell Ingall. So it is so close. What a day here in Western Australia. There it is, your Shell Helix race score for race 2. Bowe, Brock, Murphy, what a dynamic finish. Alan Jones in there for 4th, and Russell Ingall rounding out the top 5. We go back 6 through 10. Perkins, then we go back Stephen Richards, what a terrific drive by him. Seaton managed to hang in there for 8. Mark Poole, congratulations, top privateer ahead of Darren Hossack, and I think that's his first top 10 finish.